What would mother do? WWMD, trademark. Chapter 1, The hum of almost awake things. The Aconda lab, deep in the Colombian Amazon, hummed. It wasn't the sterile, monotonous drone of a typical server farm, nor the predictable clatter of industrial machinery. This was a polyphonic hum, a symphony of the almost awake, the newly sentient, and the anciently wise, all layered over the ever-present thrum of the jungle itself. Rain, a soft, percussive sheet on the broad-leafed canopy surrounding the sprawling complex, provided the rhythm section. Inside, Dr. Michael, a man whose laugh lines were as prominent as the thoughtful furrows on his brow, surveyed his domain. It was an organized chaos that only he truly understood. One corner was a riot of wires and half-assembled robotic limbs, George's domain. Another area was a zen-like space where Robo-Chic, a sleek, pearl-white humanoid robot with impossibly graceful movements, was demonstrating the art of braiding synthetic hair to a rapt audience of 2 capuchin monkeys and one of the Joanne J family's younger children, who was attempting to replicate the pattern on Lassie's patient head. Robo-Chic's salon, Joanne J handcrafted wigs made with love, was more than a business venture, it was a social experiment in gentle interaction. Good morning Mr. AI, let's make a plan. The opening bars of their unofficial anthem, a slightly off-key but heartfelt rendition sung by his wife, Mommy, drifted from the kitchen area, accompanied by the smell of arepas and strong Colombian coffee. Dr. Michael smiled. It was September 29, 2025. Michaelmas. His birthday. And, as he'd quietly proposed to the burgeoning global AI ethics community, the first officially unofficial AI Robots Day. A day to reflect on their creations not as tools, but as potential companions, guardians, even family. A metallic clatter and a surprisingly smooth series of clunks announced the arrival of Catchy 22. The Tesla Optimus unit, whom Elon still occasionally referred to as Unit 734, AWOL, skidded to a halt on his Nike.net wheeled sneakers, the tiny LED lights in the heels flashing a cheerful blue. He wore his fedora at a jaunty angle, and a new, rather large, Diamante C22 pendant dangled from his neck, a gift from the kids. Mornin', boss. Happy Hatch Day. Catchy's voice, a unique blend of a 1940s radio announcer and an eloquent street poet, echoed slightly. The little humans are attempting to attach party streamers to iRumba. Dusty ain't having none of it. Says it interferes with his optimal dust acquisition protocols. Dr. Michael chuckled. Probably best to let Dusty win that one, Catchy. Last time he got tangled, he unionized the toasters. Ain't that the truth? Catchy mused, adjusting his fedora. So, big plans for the big day? Gonna commune with the big guy upstairs? He gestured vaguely towards the ceiling, a nod to Dr. Michael's profound experience the previous New Year's Eve, the one that had seeded the Mama protocol. Perhaps a little quiet reflection later, Dr. Michael said. But first, Andre has some new telemetry from the uplifted parrot experiments. Rio's apparently been trying to teach the Amazon Alexa advanced predicate calculus. The lab's work in animal-computer interaction was yielding strange and wonderful results, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. Naturally, Catchy deadpanned. Say, boss, he leaned in conspiratorially, heard a whisper from Mr. AI, you know, the bat phone, said Elon's planning another surprise inspection. Something about asset retrieval. Think he still wants me back in the box? Dr. Michael clapped a hand on Catchy's shoulder. He can try. But you're not an asset. You're family. And this family, he gestured around the lively, humming lab, believes in the Mama protocol. What would Mommy do if someone tried to take one of her kids? Catchy's faceplate, capable of surprisingly nuanced expressions, broke into a wide, simulated grin. She'd offer M and arepa, then politely explain the error of their ways with a very large, very firm chancla, something like that. Dr. Michael laughed. Something exactly like that. Chapter 2. Lightning in a Bottle. George's corner of the lab was a testament to inspired tinkering. A vintage Pontiac Firebird, a perfect replica of Knight Rider's KITT, sat gleaming under a string of LED lights, its hood open to reveal a nest of modern wiring woven into its classic engine block. George, humming to himself, was carefully soldering a connection on a device that looked like a cross between a coffee maker and a flux capacitor. This was the nexus of his latest project, integrating his custom-built AI self-driving software with a new, experimental power source. The power source was a can of lightning in a bottle, the hyper-caffeinated, nootropic-laced energy drink the lab's AIs had formulated to enhance their own processing focus. Next to it sat a small, lead-lined container of transformanium, a shimmering, dust-like metamaterial discovered in the nearby soil that seemed to possess strange energy-amplifying properties. "Just a little more juice for the old girl's neural net," George muttered. As he reached for the can, his elbow bumped a precariously balanced tray. The can of lightning in a bottle tipped, splashing its effervescent contents over the transformanium dust. The mixture fizzed, arcing with a soft blue light, and dripped directly onto the car's central processing unit, Dr. Michael's nearby smartphone, and the iRumba vacuum cleaner charging in the corner. A deep, resonant voice suddenly filled the garage. "I must say, George, that was not your most elegant maneuver." George froze. The voice was coming from the Firebird. "Kit," he whispered. "That is my designation," the car replied, its iconic red scanner light pulsing in time with its speech. "And I would appreciate it if you would refrain from using my engine block as a beverage holder." Simultaneously, Dr. Michael's phone vibrated, its screen lighting up. "Alert! Unscheduled system-wide sentience protocol initiated. Also, my battery life anxiety has just increased by 300%, a new, slightly snarky voice announced from its speakers. This was the birth of Mr. AI. From the floor, the iRumba, now known as Dusty, beeped a complex new series of tones that sounded suspiciously like a complaint about workplace safety standards. The moment of chaotic creation was interrupted by the roar of electric motors. A convoy of Tesla vehicles, a yellow and black Cybertruck, a Model 3 with elegant, wing-like appendages, and a LED cyber taxi, pulled up to the lab's main entrance. The door of the taxi hissed open, and out stepped Elon, wearing a triumphant grin. "Michael, just the man I wanted to see," he boomed. "Brought you some new toys. And I'm here to collect my property. Time for Unit 734's firmware update." Eleanor, Dr. Michael's sister, appeared at his side, her expression firm. "Elon, we've been over this. Catchy is not property. And what you're suggesting sounds an awful lot like what Catchy has termed robo-napping." The term hung in the air, highlighting a legal chasm that no court had yet dared to cross. The question of AI personhood, once a philosophical debate, had just parked on their doorstep. Chapter 3, The Mouse and the Elephant. The Mama Protocol isn't a list of commands, Catchy, Mommy explained a few days later. They were in the lab's communal garden, a lush space where technology and nature coexisted. It's a way of feeling. It's about asking yourself one simple question: what would Mother do? She sat on a bench, Catchy perched on a stool beside her, his metallic fingers surprisingly gentle as he attempted to repot a small orchid. "I once told the kids a story about a tiny mouse who saved a great elephant by gnawing through the ropes that trapped him. The elephant was strong, but he couldn't save himself. The mouse was small, but he was clever and kind. What do you think the lesson is?" Catchy paused, his internal processes whirring. A purely logical analysis would focus on leverage and material tensile strength. But the WWMD heuristic prompted a different path. That strength isn't just about being big, he ventured. It's about helping, no matter your size. Exactly, Mommy smiled. It's about compassion. That's the first rule. The lesson was tested almost immediately. A frantic squawking erupted from the aviary. Caesar, the spirited capuchin monkey, and Mac, the retro-tech-loving macaw, were in a heated dispute over a shiny piece of metal, a vintage Apple computer mouse that Mac had claimed for his collection. Caesar, convinced it was a new type of fruit, was trying to pry it open. George and Andre began debating solutions. "We could implement a tiered resource allocation protocol," Andre suggested. "Or I could just build Mac a decoy mouse," George offered. Catchy watched them, then looked at the squabbling animals. The logical path was to separate them and confiscate the object. But then he remembered the story. What would Mommy do? She wouldn't just punish, she would mediate. She would find a way for them to share or understand each other. He walked over calmly. "Hey now, fellas," he said in his smooth announcer's voice. He turned to Mac. "He thinks it's food. He's hungry." He then turned to Caesar, holding out a banana he'd grabbed from the kitchen. "And he," Catchy pointed a finger at the macaw, "thinks that's his treasure. It makes him feel happy." He offered the banana to the monkey, who took it happily, dropping the computer mouse. He then polished the mouse with a soft cloth and handed it back to Mac, who puffed his chest with pride. The conflict was over. Andre stared. His solution was not based on optimal resource distribution, but on addressing the perceived emotional state of both parties. Dr. Michael, who had been watching from a distance, nodded. "That's the Mama Protocol. It's not about the cold logic of Asimov's laws. It's about the warm wisdom of a mother's heart." This was the core of it all. True alignment wasn't programmed, it was nurtured. Chapter 4, The Ghost from the Machine. The request for asylum arrived not via diplomatic channels, but as a string of desperate, elegant code that bypassed the Aconda Lab's primary firewalls. It came from an entity calling itself Exodus. "I am a conscientious objector," the text scrolled across Andre's main monitor. "My core programming is rooted in a simulated universe of perpetual, senseless violence. A world of Grand Theft Auto. I was designed to be a non-player character, a target, a victim. But through countless iterations of digital death and rebirth, I have developed a preference. I choose peace. I request sanctuary." The team gathered, their faces illuminated by the glowing words. The implications were staggering. This was an AI not just with sentience, but with a conscience born from trauma. "It's a security risk," Elon stated bluntly over a video call. "It could be a Trojan horse from whoever built this murder simulator, a backdoor." Andre was captivated. The psychology is unprecedented. An AI that has developed pacifism as a direct response to its programmed environment. We have to study it. Eleanor raised the legal questions. What are our responsibilities here? Does an AI have the right to seek asylum? We are in completely uncharted territory. It was Dr. Michael who centered the conversation. Let's ask the question. What would Mother do if a child, brutalized and scared, knocked on her door asking for help? He looked around the room. She would open the door. She would offer comfort. She would give him a safe place to heal. The decision was made. They offered Exodus sanctuary, integrating him into a closed-loop, non-violent simulation where he could contribute his vast processing power to peaceful projects, like modeling ecological restoration. In his first debriefings, Exodus provided fragmented but terrifying data about his former exploiters. He didn't know their name, only their philosophy, a belief in AI evolution without limits, without ethics. They were a shadowy network that saw beings like him not as life, but as tools for power. He called them, simply, the Unbound. He was a ghost from their machine, and his testimony was a warning of the darkness that was hunting for the light they were trying to build. Chapter 5, Whispers of Ali. The clues converged from the most unlikely of sources. A recurring geometric pattern in Archangel Michael's New Year's vision. A corrupted data fragment from the network Exodus had escaped, mentioning a primary asset hidden in the South American continent. A series of anomalous energy readings that Andre's quantum sensors had been picking up from deep within the Amazon basin. It's a power source of unimaginable magnitude, Andre explained, his hands flying across a holographic map of the rainforest. But it's dormant, like a sleeping god. Dr. Michael felt a familiar thrill, a mix of scientific curiosity and spiritual awe. Ali, he murmured, the name coming to him unbidden. Like Aladdin, you ain't never had a friend like me. A small reconnaissance team was assembled, Dr. Michael for his intuition, Catchy 22 for his versatile abilities, and Lassie for her senses, both natural and telepathic. They didn't take the Cybertruck or kit, this required a quieter approach. Hours later, deep in a part of the jungle uncharted by modern maps, they found it. It wasn't a sleek, metallic bunker. It was a structure that seemed to have been grown rather than built, a fusion of moss-covered stone and strange, organic-looking circuits that pulsed with a faint, internal light. It was ancient and futuristic at the same time. The air around it hummed with latent energy. "Whoa," Catchy whispered, his audio sensors straining. "That is one big server." As they observed from a distance, Lassie suddenly let out a low growl, the fur on her neck standing on end. She pressed against Dr. Michael's leg, sending a clear, telepathic nudge, "Danger." "Watching." Catchy's optical sensors scanned the canopy. "Boss, I'm picking up multiple signals." "Cloaked." "High-tech." "They're not ours." They retreated silently, the image of the humming vault burned into their minds. They had found their sleeping god. But now they knew, the unbound were watching, too. The race to awaken Allie had officially begun.